Wrestlepalooza, let's talk about it. It was WWE's first premium live event with ESPN. All right, so there was 5 matches on the card, and the first match was Brock Lesnar versus John Cena. This match went for 8 minutes and 50 seconds. Let me tell you, this surprised me. I did not think the match was going to go this way because Brock Lesnar dominated. And you think about the build up to this match, Brock Lesnar hit John Cena with F5s. First at, was it SummerSlam? Yeah, I think it was SummerSlam. At SummerSlam, when Cody Rhodes defeated John Cena, Brock Lesnar made his return. He F5'd John Cena. He just left him there. And then also, again, I believe it was on an episode of SmackDown. So I just did not expect this. So in this match, Brock Lesnar, he just put a beating on John Cena. And John Cena got some offense for like maybe, I don't know, 2 minutes, 3 minutes, not even 3 minutes, maybe for like a minute or two. I don't know. He did a few moves. He hit the attitude adjustment, I think like 2 or 3 times. Brock Lesnar kicked out, and then Brock Lesnar just pretty much clotheslined John Cena, just toying with him, throwing him around the ring, and then hit him with, I believe, 2 F5s, and he got the 1, 2, 3. My thing about this, if you were going to do something like this, say if this was 20 years ago, and let's just say, let's just say if Brock Lesnar, he was a new wrestler, he was in his 20s, you're trying to push him, you're trying to give him the rub. Okay, maybe you want to surprise us, this upcoming wrestler, he's been with the WWE for maybe 2 years. You want to give him the rub. John Cena is going to, retire. So why not have this upcoming wrestler who you want to push as a star dominate John Cena? Just to surprise the fans. I get that. They could have done something like that with Bron Breakker. But the fact that both of these guys, Brock Lesnar and Cena, I believe their last match was in 2014. It was or whatever around that time, and I don't think I watched their last match, but I was talking to my friend, and he was saying that their last match was just so much better. So this really surprised me. It was okay. I guess it was all right, but I also heard online that there's WWE doesn't have plans for John Cena and Brock Lesnar to have a rematch. So I'm like, that did not make any sense. If that's the case, that is just weird booking to me. I don't get that. Maybe they will have a rematch, but this outcome, or not even if, not more so like the outcome of Brock Lesnar winning, but but the way that he won the match, people expected more. And just for this match to be 8 minutes and 50 seconds and John Cena was just getting beat up, I wasn't crazy about it, but it was overall all right. But yeah, I don't understand what they were doing with that. The John Cena and Brock Lesnar, they have had several, I don't know, like a few matches. Can't remember the number of matches that they have had, but what has it been, like 3, 4, or 5 or something like that? But so that really surprised me. All right, and then we had this match. This was the tag team match with the Usos versus the Vision, with LA Knight as the special guest referee. Now, this match went for 17 minutes and 12 seconds. This could have been a match on Raw, but with that being said, I did enjoy this match. The Vision, Bron Breakker and Bronson Reed, they got the win. Pretty much the finish of this match, I'm trying to think what happened. Brock Lesnar, Bron Breakker speared the Usos through a table, and what's his name? Not Bron Breakker. Bronson Reed, he hit the tsunami on Jey Uso and got the 1, 2, 3. That tsunami, that tsunami looked vicious. I was like, my God, it looked really vicious. And then also, before Bron Breakker speared the Usos through the table, Jey Uso, he had the chair. This is people were talking about this online, and he hit Bron Breakker with the chair, and the leg of the chair cut Jey Uso's like his forehead. So I was like, where did that blood come from? So I had to, I had to rewind it, and I was like, oh, that's where it came from. So yeah, so that was, I overall thought that was fun. I thought it was entertaining. Okay, and then this match right here, this was it was a singles match, and this was for the vacant women's world championship. And this match went for 20 minutes and 11 seconds. Stephanie Vaquer versus Io Sky. What a match they had. This match was incredible. I had to rewatch this match because I watch AEW All Out. And when I was watching this match, I was falling asleep. Io Sky and Stephanie. So I said, you know what? The next day, I said, you know what? On Sunday, I said, you know what? Let me rewatch this match, and I must say they put on a show. This is actually one of my favorite matches from Wrestlepalooza, and they just did some really good stuff. Some back and forth action, move after move, pretty much. And there was one point where Io Sky, she did a suicide dive, and it looked like it came pretty close to her hitting her head when she did that dive onto Stephanie on the outside of the ring. I'm like, yeah, that was pretty close, so that was kind of scary. So pretty much the end of this match, what happened? Io Sky, I believe she was gone for some move. I think she missed the moonsault. That's what happened, I believe. And then Stephanie, she got onto the turnbuckle, the top turnbuckle, and she hit some kind of dive, and it was really smooth, and she got the 1, 2, 3. So some good stuff. All right, now this match right here, this was a mixed tag team match. This is one of the matches that I couldn't wait to see. This match went for 29 minutes and 18 seconds. My goodness. CM Punk and AJ Lee versus Rollins and Becky Lynch. This match right here, some of the stuff I liked in this match, but overall, it just went on way too long. This match didn't need to be 29 minutes and 18 seconds, pretty much 30 minutes. That did not make any sense to me. This match right here should have just been maybe 15 minutes. That's how I feel. And I feel like with AJ Lee, she actually looked pretty good in there in the ring. This is her first time wrestling in 10 years, 11 years or whatever. The thing about AJ Lee, there's a couple of times when her strikes, her slapping, it looked phony, and you could tell that she wasn't even touching Becky. So that she needs to work on that. Some of those slaps, I don't know what that was, but it did not look good. So pretty much towards the end of this match, they were on the outside of the ring. I think everyone was on the outside of the ring. On the announce table, I believe we had CM Punk and Rollins on one announce table, and Becky and AJ on the other. So AJ, she did a move or she slammed Becky on the announce table, and then, I'm trying to think what happened. Or I think maybe Becky threw AJ into whatever Rollins and CM Punk, and then the announce table that they were on, it collapsed. And then after that, they get in the ring, and this kind of surprised me. Becky and AJ, they're in the ring after that spot, maybe like a minute after, maybe a few seconds. I'm not really sure. And AJ Lee, she hit her submission. She got Becky in her submission, and she made her tap out. So I feel like that ending, even though it was time for the match to end, but how they got there, that was like a flat finish for me, because you just have that spot with the announce table, so I just, whatever. So yeah, it was okay, but yeah, it was just too much. It should not have been close to 30 minutes. And then the main event, Cody Rhodes versus Drew McIntyre. And this was for the WWE Undisputed Championship. Undisputed WWE Championship. And this was, you know what? This is one of my favorite matches. And I think that this match right here, I think this was my favorite match, even though like that Stephanie versus Io, that was a really good match. But I think this match right here with CM Punk, with Cody Rhodes and Drew McIntyre, to me, what I like about this match, I like the psychology. I like how Drew, he pretty much, he almost beat Cody Rhodes because we have that spot. I guess Drew exposed the turnbuckle, right? And I think he threw out the pad. He threw the pad out of the ring from the turnbuckle, and I think the referee. I don't know if I'm trying to remember what happened. Did the referee get knocked out, or did the referee go out to get the pad? And then Drew McIntyre, I think there was a ref bump right there. I'm trying to remember. I can't really remember. But anyway, the referee was distracted or knocked out or whatever the case. And Drew McIntyre, he had Cody, he pinned Cody, but the referee wasn't there. And then the referee gets in the ring. He does 1, 2, and Cody kicks out. And then it seemed like, there was some really back and forth. And then also with Cody, from him having issues with when Drew took him out, like, that head injury that he had, that they played into that. Like, is Cody okay? Will he be able to continue? It seems like he still, is impacted or affected by that brutal attack that Drew McIntyre did, from whatever a couple of weeks ago on SmackDown. Okay, and then pretty much towards the end of this match, Drew McIntyre, Cody Rhodes was in front. He was on his knees in front of the announce table, and Drew McIntyre was getting ready to take Cody's head off again. And the referee said, "Hey, you're not going to do that." And then Drew McIntyre pushed the referee, and then he went for the kick, and Cody Rhodes moved out of the way. And Drew McIntyre, pretty much his, whatever legs went through the announce table, cracked the announce table. They get back in the ring. Seems like Cody's going to win the match. And then Drew McIntyre, he does whatever. I think he hit Cody with the Claymore or some move or whatever. And Cody kicks out. And then pretty much Cody Rhodes hit the Super Cody Cutter. And then he hit the Crossroads and he got the 1, 2, 3. So some really good stuff. And then also what I like about this match that it plays into Drew, actually the fact that he had the match won, but the referee was distracted or whatever the case was. And then the referee getting in his way towards the end, causing Drew McIntyre to injure to injure his legs or whatever. I like what they're doing. I like that. But sooner or later, Drew McIntyre needs to win the championship. They have to put the championship on him. Put the championship on him one of these days, and it has to happen soon. So overall, with Wrestlepalooza, I think it was a decent show. It wasn't a bad show, but it wasn't great. I wouldn't say it wasn't good. I just feel like it was decent. I know a lot of people are saying, "Oh, it was a horrible show." I think, hey, that's their opinion. People can feel the way that they feel, but I don't think it was it wasn't like terrible or anything. But it could have, it was like, I guess some people would say it was a little boring or predictable, and I understand that. I get that, and the fact that this was the first show on ESPN. So I get how people are saying, we wanted more. And then also there's a writer or a reviewer on ESPN. This is making headlines. I guess, he gave the show, he didn't really like the show. And I guess, he was saying he was expecting more. And it's kind of funny because as I know, because I didn't look up anything else today, but it was just that one reviewer, his words mean a lot, apparently. It's just one person who has an opinion, just like everyone else. But I feel like, and I was talking to my friend about this. I was like, why does his opinion matter so much? And my friend was saying, and I get this, he's a reviewer with ESPN, and this is a big deal because this one reviewer is saying this, but I'm like, does he speak for everyone at ESPN? But anyway, I thought that they would have more to the show, as well. So we shall see how are they going to do, in the future with these premium live events. I do feel like, just thinking about the AJ Lee and the mixed tag match. I feel like I said before, they should have reduced that to 15 minutes. And maybe have like another match, maybe have some cruiserweights or something, having a match for like 14 minutes, maybe some stuff like that. It's just something like a little more exciting. It was a decent show overall, and I feel like WWE, they have to do other things with their shows, but we shall see. Take care and have a good one.